river. I'm David Baldit, author of Oneota Flow. The book is a kind of biography of the river and the way it flows through the lives of people who live in its basin.
The river flows past the place I work, Luther College. The river also flows through my hometown, Decorah. The water I drink comes out of the river system from pump stations like this one. The water I use goes directly back into the river, in the place pictured here. Because of that, I stress the relationship between people and the river in this book. I try to show that the people who have lived here for thousands of years are, in one way, walking tributaries of this stream.
When Oneota Flow was printed, the budget didn't allow for any more illustrations than the one small map on page 6. So this short video and the 3 that follow it are meant to achieve 2 purposes. First, to provide you with some images of what I talk about in the book, and second, to provide you with some questions that can guide or animate your reading.
For example, here is the map made in 1837 by 2 Iowa representatives to a treaty signing. This is how they envisioned their home territory. What would become the state of Iowa in the center takes its name from their tribe. The map is a picture of a river system. The Missouri is on the left. The Mississippi is on the right. The upper Iowa is up here. In The Smell of Rain, where it begins, I talk about an idea put forward by Aldo Leopold, an Iowa native. He wrote while living at this summer farm in the sand country of Wisconsin, not too far east of the upper Iowa. Leopold talks about re-envisioning soil, water, air, plants, and animals as one living organism, the land community, and re-envisioning ourselves as citizens in a community that includes all those other elements with rights and interests as important as our own. Here are some questions for the whole book. Each chapter has a title. How does this communicate something about the point of the chapter? And 2, though the book is organized in a chronological way, each chapter moves back and forth between the present and the past. How does this affect your understanding of the meaning of the history of the river for people today? And for The Smell of Rain, how does the opening image of the book, of the smell of rain being the smell of something else, relate to the connection between people and rivers? And 2, do you agree with Leopold's argument that people and rivers are part of a single community or organism, each with rights that need to be respected? What implications does this have for our choices and our actions?
Saint Anthony, Saint Anthony, Saint Peter, sandstone at your feet, crawling on broken limestone knees toward martyrdom that waits upstream.
This is Dunning Springs, the first place a settler began to build in what would eventually become the town of Decorah. What he built was a mill that eventually was used to cut and polish local stone. In Chapter 2, to look at the interrelation of water and rock in the river, I take a canoe trip through the town where I live. I travel with Carl Knutson. Carl is an avid canoer, an author about river protection, and an environmental lawyer. The chapter looks at issues of water quality in springs like Twin Springs, as it connects to the geology of cracked limestone that allows runoff to literally pour from the upper surface to springs below. I also look at development issues in floodplains, where in Iowa, people, corporations, or the government owns the land, while the water that flows over it is considered a public resource. Here are some questions. Explain the reasons for and implications of the state of Iowa classifying land, including stream bottoms, as private, while the water that flows across it is classified as a public resource. And 2, how should our political commitments to protect individual property rights be balanced against the desire to protect the environment a rivers need to flood, or a fish or mussel species need to survive.
Words by which the valley took its shape were made by faith. Sacrifice of stone and watery patience of the saints.
When I was a kid, one of my favorite movies, The Lost World, was about a place in South America where dinosaurs had survived in an isolated valley up until the present. I positively ate up that idea. Some Ice Age residents of the Upper Iowa Basin are as extinct as the dinosaurs. Animals like the young mastodon, whose molar tooth, pictured here, was found in a local gravel pit. These animals were in part killed by the first people to live here over 10,000 years ago. But in this chapter I write about some remnant populations that aren't a fantasy. One is the brook trout of South Pine Creek. And Pleistocene snails, Ice Age invertebrates thought extinct until they were found in pockets of cold air that emerged from the rock debris at the base of hills, like this one, where a mat of cold-loving mosses grow and keep the air trapped year-round in coolness. The relative absence of glacial drift boulders like these is what puts half of the Upper Iowa River Basin in a region known as the Driftless. The big river of the chapter title was the original outwash of the glaciers that carved out the Upper Iowa Valley, but which skipped around the Driftless in the last advances during the 500,000 years ice dominated the landscape. Here are some questions. What do you learn about evolution, the selection for fitness in an environment, as you read the account of trout in this chapter? If evolutionary processes often eliminate less adapted species, why is there a need to worry about human activity that may speed this elimination? And 2, in an era of global warming, what have you learned about the importance of cold to the Upper Iowa Basin? How does this play out from the perspectives of trout, fishers, and farmers? Which should take precedence?
Melt, oh melt, the ice and snow. Drip, oh drip, let water